Ho, ho, holy moly! Where did 2023 go? The holidays are here. Is your tree trimmed? Are you ready to lick all those envelopes full of holiday greetings? Looking forward to trading work for quality time with friends and family? With Christmas spirit in the air, now's a good time to make sure your gifts and greetings are grammatically on point, that your communication efforts don't fall asleep while you're away, and hear how Christmas tree farmers spread Christmas cheer throughout the year. That's all ahead on our holiday episode of Shooting the Shift. Welcome to a special holiday episode of Shooting the Shift, a venture here at Shiftology Communication where our team of communication professionals reflect, share, and provide insights into what we do every day to help our clients reach more, convince more, and win more. I'm Dan Toland, Director of Virtual Experiences here at Shiftology, and we're holly jolly that you clicked on today's episode titled Communicating Around the Christmas Tree. All right, well, I am joined by Emily Bennett, Account Manager here at Shiftology Communication. Welcome, Emily. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
You are our chief, grammarologist. How did you become so interested and experienced in grammar and style?
I think it really probably started when I was a kid and I was just such a rule follower. I hated getting in trouble. So when teachers would share grammar rules with us, I thought, okay, well, I have to follow these. I don't want to get in trouble with my teachers. You know, I've always loved writing. So obviously grammar is a big part of writing. And then, you know, I got to college at Ohio State and I took one of my favorite classes with my favorite professors there. And I'll give her a shout out. Her name's Mary Sterenberg, and she is actually from Clark County, which is where Shiftology is based. She taught an AP style class. I had never done much with AP style. And it's funny because we'll get interns applying now or kind of like that entry level writing positions. And we'll ask them about their experience with AP style, what journalists use to write. So if you're writing a news release and you make sure it's an AP style, they can run it as is, which they really appreciate and increases your chances of actually getting published.
So when you say style, that's a certain way of writing something. So can you give me a couple examples of what you mean by style?
So there's an AP style book. A lot of college students, you know, in PR and marketing have. It's what journalists use. An example is no Oxford comma in AP style. So if you have a set of 3 things, so I like Santa, Frosty, and Rudolph, you would not have a comma before the and Rudolph at the end. And that can be a big debate between some people. We certainly have clients who don't necessarily adhere to AP style, and that's fine. For ourselves and for writing for the media, we're going to kind of use those little nuances that AP style has set forth.
And there's a difference between grammar versus style, right? There's just grammar rules that everybody should follow in general. It's just kind of how English works versus style saying, hey, we prefer you write in this certain manner. So can you kind of describe the difference between grammar and style?
So grammar, you're looking at the different parts of sentences, you know, the different pieces of writing. So nouns, verbs, objects, pronouns, all that good stuff. We actually just went through a training our team did with Dan Farkas, who is also a lecturer at Ohio State. And he had us do sentence mapping, which I haven't done that since probably middle school, high school. I don't know. It was tough. It was challenging.
It was.
So it really kind of makes you break down the different parts of the sentence. And for example, you've got that and which. If you've got that, you don't need a comma around it. But if you've got which, you do need a comma before it. So that's kind of an example where you've got style and grammar coming together.
I recall doing all those sentence diagrams, and I had never done those before in my life. Yeah, that was really kind of difficult. I had myself thinking there's got to be an AI tool that can help me with this or something like that. I fully admit I looked that up, but I couldn't get it to work right. So I had to do it manually and figure it out, which is good.
It wasn't computing.
If the AI can't figure it out, it's awfully hard for us to figure it out too. So the English language is quite complicated, but it's important to know these type of things. It's important to begin with just to be able to communicate, not just in general, but, you know, as a professional communicator. But why is it important around the holiday season?
A big part is the gifting and wanting to give to others, and you want everything to look nice and neat and pretty and packaged all together. Make sure you've got everything correct on your Christmas cards and the way you're addressing envelopes and things like that. Things are heightened, so you're seeing more bad uses of grammar by different people during the holidays.
Right. Yeah. You want to get somebody a gift or something nice for the family or something like that. Going through our neighborhood and stuff like that, I'll see like people with their family names out there with possessive, apostrophes and different ways that they put their names out there. And being a professional communicator, I'm like, ooh, that's not right. That doesn't look good, but that might just be our brains, the way we work. It's always about the thought. It's always about the thought and the effort you put into a gift, which is wonderful. But you do want it to come out nice and correct and look well. So what are naughty and nice ways for people to communicate when they're buying gifts or putting Christmas cards out there? What are your top grammar and style mistakes that people make? They need to make sure they clean up during the holiday season.
So I've got 4 tips to share. So number 1, the most important thing, if you are, working on your Christmas cards and you're saying, love the Bennetts, right? You don't ever, ever, ever put an apostrophe S at the end. It is not possessive. You are just making it plural. So that's the big one you see, and lots of people won't even notice, right? But since I'm working with words and writing a lot, it's something that just makes me cringe all the time. So
what if somebody's name ends in an S though? So, is this number 2? I don't know. Maybe I'm way ahead of things.
3. So let me hit number 2 first.
Okay, good. Number 2.
But it's kind of just a follow-up to number 1. You just simply need to add an S in most instances, right? So the Bennetts, the Tolans, most times it's just as simple as adding an S. If your name ends in an S, a CH, an SH, an X, or a Z, then you get an ES on the end. For example, if your last name is Bush, you're going to turn it into Bushes. Busshes. Still
and no apostrophe. No apostrophe. Right. Okay.
No. And then number 4, when in doubt, just stick with the Bennett family or the Tolan family, and we can just eliminate the confusion altogether.
That makes it much easier.
That's all 4.
Quick and easy. Are there any other grammar or style peeves that you have in general or around the holiday? Like what just like nails on the chalkboard for you?
Probably when people use the wrong version of their or your. If I see it on Facebook, it just makes me cringe a little bit.
I can see you have your 3 little munchkins there behind you.
Yes.
What do you look forward to the most during the holidays? I'm sure it involves them.
Oh, absolutely. Just seeing their joy and excitement, not only on Christmas morning, but the entire holiday season. The 2 oldest are getting to where they really like to give gifts too. My oldest got to do Secret Santa at school last year. So he was just so excited that he picked out a gift for mommy and for daddy and baby sister and baby brother. And that was just really magical.
Well, Emily, we thank you for the few minutes of your time, dropping some knowledge on us, helping people get their Christmas cards addressed and those gifts looking right. And I just want to take time to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holiday.
Thank you, Dan. Same to you.
We are now joined by our agricultural account manager, Cassie Jo Arend, who is no stranger to the show. We're happy to have you again.
Thanks for having me.
The holidays are here. And for communication professionals, we're not always communicating the whole time. In fact, our organization actually shuts down that whole week between Christmas and New Year's, which is really nice for us as employees. But people are always watching us, whether we're awake or we're asleep.
Sort of like Santa Claus.
Yeah, right? People are always seeing you. We want to talk a little bit about strategy around that and what you should be doing as a communication professional. So, Cassie Jo, before you came to Shiftology a couple of years ago, you spent a number of years basically building and managing your very own communication department for a large turkey and pork producer. With operations that are around the clock. So how'd that work there?
Anything with animal agriculture, you're never going to shut down. It doesn't matter if there's 10 feet of snow, if there's an ice storm, whatever that might be, or we've had derechos and tornadoes come through this area and bring things down and make things much more challenging where you can't find cell signal or there's a lot of issues that you're running into. But everything has to keep running. People still need to eat. There are animals that still need to be cared for. There are still things that need to be done on a daily basis. So there really is no true shutdown ever. And communication is much the same way. You need to be planning ahead. You need to be on your toes, ready to handle it properly, ready to know your audience, ready to communicate regardless of what is happening. I can be really honest here. At one point, I was on maternity leave with a 2-week-old baby and a just turned 2-year-old. And we had the derecho come through this way, knock down some barns. We were losing cell signal. So there were animals that were getting rescued outside of these barns that had issues. We had team members that didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. It was very, very challenging. It really doesn't matter what's going on. You have to keep going. And yes, that's times where as a communicator, you're going to have to interrupt your personal life. But if you're prepared for most things, you don't have to do that. And when it comes to the holidays, especially, you can prepare, you can foresee what's going to happen. A little bit of staying on point, knowing your goals and your values, knowing your audience, knowing what's coming up. We all know. We know Thanksgiving's coming. We know Christmas is coming. We know New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We know what people are worried about and thinking about. So prepare properly.
How soon should people start planning for their communication efforts during the holidays, and what type of things should they be thinking about?
I like to tell people that you should be preparing at least a month in advance for a holiday. You probably should be preparing further if it's a bigger event for you. So the company I worked for before, like you said, was a turkey company. Thanksgiving was always just a big media time. So we prepared ahead of time. We prepared 2 to 3 months in advance to get out there and talk to the media and give them the stories they were looking for, because they need a turkey story come the week of Thanksgiving, and they usually aren't on their toes. So we can help them and give them what we knew they were looking for. Same way of working with team members and knowing that there were going to be questions and there were going to be challenges. So thinking ahead of what's important to them. How do you communicate with them? How do you share the information in a way that is important and timely to them? And even sharing, like, there was a turkey roast that they always hand out, and there's cooking instructions. People lose the cooking instructions. We all do it. How many times do you hear about people forgetting to pull the turkey out of the freezer, for example? So those things happen. We learn, share those cooking instructions multiple times in the weeks leading up, and especially the morning of Thanksgiving, so they all know what they're supposed to be doing. It's just those little things of putting yourself in those people's shoes and understanding what's important to them and when it's going to be important, and then preparing properly for that.
What about the things you can't prepare for? You talked a little about crisis situations. Yes. I mean, those can pop up during the holidays, right? So how do you make sure you're prepared for something that you don't know what's coming?
So like I mentioned, that derecho was a big one for us. And I was on maternity leave and doing what I could at that point. But we did have a crisis plan in place. And so we were very prepared. If you take the time, it takes a lot of time, and it's honestly a little bit uncomfortable to think about all the bad things that could happen. But if you take that time to really go through all of the potential scenarios and all the crises that could happen, you can have a solid plan in place and in writing, and have trained all of your team to know those things. So all the managers know how they were supposed to respond. And if they forget, they have a little book to look back on. It tells them what they're supposed to do. Go find that document and do the right things. Step 1 is always call the top management, call communications. Those are always your top things. As a communicator, you feel much more comfortable when you know that plan's in place.
And just to put a plug out there, our boss, Melanie Will, is pretty good at this whole crisis strategy communication thing.
That sure. She is. When I was internal, it was very overwhelming to me because I saw all the nooks and crannies. I actually, at that point, hired Melanie in Shiftology Communication, which is now where I work, to come and help me weed through all of that and really get the solid plan in place and go through. And we trained everybody together so that they all knew. I mean, we did, I think, 5 training sessions to get a whole bunch of managers on the page and understanding. And I'm still so proud to this day when I see that team make a phone call and say, hey, did you know this happened? Or, hey, this happened. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but I want you to be aware. It's wonderful to see that when everybody's on the same page and prepared and knows what they're supposed to be doing.
So step number 1, if you don't have a crisis plan in place, give Melanie a call. Maybe we can get one taken care of for you there. So
that we can.
Always dropping hints here. What are some good tips or recommendations to make sure, even though we're spending time away from work, we're looking forward to spending time with family and friends, to make sure that we're staying on top of what's happening just in case we're needed?
First and foremost, plan your social media posts ahead. Know what people are going to be concerned about, what is important to them at those times. Don't be insensitive. Use a little bit of emotional intelligence and understanding the audience that you are talking to. You can also use tools like Google Alerts and any other news alerts that you might have to be getting those to you. And then plan ahead with your staffing. Not every time can the whole communication staff be on vacation at the same time, but you can plan it so that, hey, you're the point person for checking social media comments and responding where needed for this day, and then this other person has it this day. Or if it's on the actual holiday, you take shifts. Like, hey, can you handle this for the beginning of the morning because you don't have young children, where somebody else can handle it in the afternoon. So just being strategic and planning ahead of who's monitoring things, who's just going to take some time to get on there, respond where needed, and be prepared. Also, having some of those timely posts is really valuable, but you can also plan ahead. So if you want a post of your management family on the actual holiday morning, set it up ahead of time so that you have as much prepared as possible, and they are set up to just go ahead, send you those pictures, and you hit the post button, and things are ready to roll. So you can set yourself up for success by planning ahead of time, and it will take a few hours. It will take a little bit of time, but you're going to be so thankful when you get to that holiday break and you're not spending hours trying to figure out logistical challenges because you hadn't planned ahead of before, or this hourly person is clocked out right now and you have no way to get a hold of them, but you need something from them because you didn't think about it ahead of time. And if you do it right, quite frankly, you get back from the holidays, you have a small debrief with your team, make sure that you discuss what went well and it might not have gone as well as you hoped. Ideally, it's a quick debrief. Great job, everybody. I'm so proud of how we did this. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I mean, you're always welcome to reach out to our team. This is the kind of stuff we love to help with. We are really passionate about planning ahead and using science and data to drive our choices. And there's so much is coming up. So plan ahead. That's the biggest advice I can give to anybody. But if you don't feel like you have the manpower to do that, there are plenty of us out there that are willing to help you and guide you through that process.
And what do you look forward to the most during the holidays?
For me, it's time with my family. I have 4 little girls that love and hate each other all at the same time most often, just like any siblings. But it's really fun to watch them through the holidays and the bonding and the playing together because they want to share their toys or their games or whatever they got. Now they're getting older and it's the crafting supplies or hair stuff. That's just always fun to see them bonding and get to just spend time getting to know them a little bit more in a different way because we get a solid week together.
Well, I hope you have planned far enough in advance to be able to take that time to enjoy with everybody. I just want to take a moment to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all that good stuff to you and your family. We really appreciate what you do and looking forward to seeing you get back at it in 2024.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
I am joined by Jeff Reese from Kaleidoscope Christmas Tree Farm. Can you tell us just a little bit about your Christmas tree farm?
We are in western Hancock County, just outside of the little town of Mount Corey. This is our 40th year of planting Christmas trees. My dad bought a bunch of ground, bought a bunch of Christmas trees, stuck them in the ground, and then waited 10 years to see any reality from that. That is the definition of a leap of faith. That is a crazy thing to do. We have roughly 30-ish acres of trees, about 1,000 trees per acre. So roughly 25 to 30,000 trees grown on our farm at any one time. We sell a little under 2,000 a year. So about 1,000 of our own, and then 800 to 900 that we bring in from other places that we can trust selling to our customers.
You yourself are not a full-time farmer, but I know that you play one for the better part of at least a couple months during this time of year. So tell us about your day job and then you moonlight there as the family tree farmer.
Yeah, so I'm a marketing specialist for Ohio's Country Journal, Ohio AgNet. By day, I'm trying to help the ag community market to farmers. I'm trying to help ag industry promote themselves. I have 3 brothers, so all 4 of us have other jobs outside of the farm, and then we all work on the farm when able. But the Christmas tree farm has been one of those things where a pastor from my parents' church a few years ago made the comment that he goes, "You are some families' Christmas traditions. Like your family is their tradition." And those are kind of heavy words if you think about it. And we do kind of take that to heart. There's certainly a lot of work, but we try to operate in that capacity as much as we can.
We are recording this a little bit prior to Thanksgiving here. So how do things progress from, the beginning of November through Christmas?
So right now, the farm is pretty much mowed and clean and ready to go. We individually price all of our trees. If I don't do that, then everybody goes out, they pick all the biggest trees on the farm, and then they're all gone, and then you never have big trees left. I'm actually painting trees right now if I get a good day. So we started doing white and purple and pink. We figured
Oh,
pink's
wow.
going to be crazy with the Barbie movie, and I think I did 12 the first year. I did 30 last year, and I'm probably going to do close to 50 this year because the demand keeps going up for pink trees.
I can see that a little bit of demand for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my dad, the purist, thinks it's sacrilegious to have a pink tree, but we're open the Sunday before Thanksgiving, which is crazy. But we have just found that people want their tree earlier and earlier. We have a gift shop. We do a horse-drawn wagon. We have some animals. We actually have a baby donkey this year. My niece hands out free cider, and she's just adorable. We have a family that comes and sells kettle corn. We've done that for the last few years. So we try to really make it a full experience when you come to the farm. So we also have some partnerships with some businesses here in Findlay. We're going to do a pop-up shop. We're going to decorate their whole business. And so we're going to have that avenue for people to shop as far as wreaths, greenery. We're going to have probably a pink tree or two.
Do you run all the way up until the week of Christmas? I mean, you got people that are like, oh crap, we need a tree. How late are you?
Yeah.
How late do you go?
Basically by the 16th of December, there's not a lot of demand anymore, but then also we just don't have a lot of trees left. And we found that people were coming out from a long ways away to get a Christmas tree, and then we just didn't have a lot of really nice ones left. So we started closing earlier, not because we didn't want to help people, but more so because we didn't want people to come and then be disappointed with what we had left.
What type of things are you trying to get out there throughout the year to keep the Christmas tree farm top of mind with everybody?
We try to communicate the sheer volume of time and things that we do. Once we get through the crazy and we all kind of recalibrate, the big push is maintenance of the farm. So we'll go through and we grind stumps. And so typically we try to take some pictures or videos to show people we're out here in January and 20-degree days working. We have wooded areas on the farm, so we try to do maintenance on those, clearing the brush that doesn't belong, eliminating trees that don't belong, making that a nicer place for wildlife, all those sort of things. So by end of March into April, we're planting trees. So we're already getting ready for the next decade of tree growth that we have to have. Pine cones, we remove all the pine cones on trees because they don't do anything good on a tree that you're trying to grow.
How do you get all the pine cones off of all the trees? Do you go out there and shake them, or what do you do?
I tell you what, it is a sticky job, and it's a sticky job right when all the bugs are starting to come out, and you got mosquitoes on your face, and then you go like this, and now you got sap all over. If you do it at the right time, you can basically kind of they just twist right off. They don't actually germinate or anything. So they're basically just there for show. And they suck nutrients from the top of the tree and they make the top of the tree not grow correctly. So the more you leave on, the less likely you have for a good, tall, full top of the tree. One of the biggest things that we're trying to grow is our additional touch points. A few weekends ago, we actually did a murder mystery haunted Christmas tree farm event. In effect, it was a 5-acre game of Clue in the dark. And we want to start doing more events. We want to do, maybe horseback riding in the spring, Easter egg hunts. We have great ideas. We're not afraid of the work, but time is always a problem in our world.
And I've seen videos. Have you guys done that thing out there where you got somebody out there looking like a samurai or a ninja just trimming the trees? I mean, how does that work?
The tree varieties that we have aren't very conducive to a double sword swinging samurai. It's one shearing knife and a pair of pruners. So it's not quite as glamorous, but they are wildly impressive.
You probably had some customers that have been with you all 40 years and some that are going out there for the first time. So what is it that you give folks that stands out?
We try really hard to make it a full experience. When people are more concerned about the experience than they are what the tree looks like, that's what the heart of what we are. And that is, you show up, we greet you relatively quickly from the time you get out of your car. We walk with you. We tell you about the farm. We tell you about, if you're regular customers, which a lot of them are, we talk about our families. We show pictures of kids. We laugh, we talk, we tell stories. We discuss different trees and what they want and what they're looking for. We help them find a tree. We cut down that tree with a bow saw. Kids can help. We carry it to a vehicle. That tree gets shaken so the old needles fall out so they're not falling out in your house as much. We wrap it up. We tie it on your car, and you get your free cup of hot cider. You can ride the horse-drawn wagon. You can basically do all of these things, and you've got to have kind of that quiet time where you can spend time with your family. Kids can run around, throw a football. It's safe, things like that. That is the heart of what the experience we want to offer people. I just think it's so different from, like, oh, I'm going to get the tree out of the box again this year. Hope I don't pinch my fingers.
What are some of the craziest, weirdest, or funniest things that have happened either on the farm or just working as a Christmas tree farmer over the years?
One of the very first years that we were open, we had, maybe 30, 40 total trees for sale. We went out as a family and tagged our family tree. And my brother then, 2 days into the season, sold it to some other person. And I remember just being crushed. What's the point of owning a tree farm if you can't even have the tree that you want? We went back out, we took a tree, we carried it up to the house. We did all the things anyway. I'm sure that whatever we had was totally fine by the time we got all of our tinsel and everything on it as a family.
Any other stories? I know I've heard a few.
We had reindeer for a long time. We loved having the reindeer, but it's hard to keep reindeer well in Ohio. So we've pivoted to some other animals. And one year we were trying to get a camel, and we thought this will be fun. We found this guy in Pennsylvania. He goes, "I got a camel. I'll drive it to your place on Thanksgiving, and I'll bring you this camel." He's like a puppy dog. He's the nicest animal. It was a lot of money, but we're like, well, we want to make sure people have fun. We need to have something. And he said, "There's just one catch." I thought, okay. He said, "Well, he gets a little anxiety with loud noises." And we thought, there's some saws, there's, dogs barking, children screaming. There's probably some loud noises. We're like, well, what is that? He goes, he gets explosive diarrhea when he gets anxious. And we're like, you know what? I think we're just going to have some goats this year. We'll just do goats. We're probably not going to do a camel this year.
I've raised goats. I've never seen explosive diarrhea, so I think you're safe on that.
No, I had a goat eat the top of a tree last weekend, but other than that, they're safe.
All right, Jeff. So how can people learn more about your farm, the hours you're open, what all you guys do there?
Yeah, so Kaleidoscope Farms on Facebook is our most interactive way. You can ask questions right there. We have kaleidoscopefarms.com as well on the website, but right now, Facebook is hot and heavy. We're posting on there pretty regularly, and we update people of, hey, we don't have anything over 8 foot left. We don't have anything, at this size point. We don't have any pines left, so that people kind of know. And hopefully, if they come to the farm, we can make them happy and we're not disappointing anybody.
Well, Jeff, I just want to thank you for taking time to chat with us. Just want to take a moment to wish you and your entire family a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, and hope you get some time to enjoy with them.
Well, thanks, and same to you, and hopefully we see you at the farm. Really appreciate all the stuff that you do, and we've been friends for a long time, so it's always fun to see you wherever I can see you. Thanks, Dan.
Well, that puts a crisp wrap and a shiny bow on this episode of Shooting the Shift. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and learned a thing or two along the way. As always, we invite you to visit shift-ology.com, where you can get in touch with questions or suggestions for future episodes, or schedule a free 30-minute discovery meeting to learn more about the services we offer. On behalf of the entire gang here at Shiftology, I'm Dan Toland, exclaiming as I drift out of sight, Happy holidays to all, and to all a good night! See you next time.